だ早くしなさい。オーケー。Let's go!
Problema, Pierre.
Everybody sit down.
Greetings, gun.
I said sit down! Now, you know how I don't like to use the sit-down gun, but this morning we just don't have time for mucking about. Major Allied cities have come under attack.
Nazis?
Close your mouth.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Close your goddamn mouth when I'm talking to you.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, hello, Zorak. Brax in the...
I am very attracted to you.
I can hurt you.
Oh, waka chicka wow.
You know? What's everybody doing tonight? We're out here. You know, we got some sketches to do. I've got a handful of them I'm going to do tonight. You know, got some sassafras. You know, gonna mail this out to Edwin. He demands it. He needs it in his life. He needs the union. You know what I mean? You go to hell and you die, Omer. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You eat a bag of dicks. All right, we're gonna jump into this. Hey, you know my other stream? Because I was drawing that naked lady, got hit with an 18 and up. It didn't hurt the stream any. It just said, hey, this is 18 and up. And I'm like, yeah, my streams have always been set to 18 and up. Yeah, we're just going to fucking jump in here. You know, get this done. Oh, I almost forgot. Jesus, what kind of a host would I be? You know what I mean? I mean, this is the kind of host I'd be.
Women.
You know, put a little sass in there. All right, let's get the fuck in here, right? Goddamn kids these fucking days. You know what I mean? All right, let's just throw it together. Let's just get in here. You know, pull these various assets together. But yeah, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm just chilling. You know, got tired of waiting on people. Decided to do something. You know, that's what you got to do. All right, let's get in here. Get some burn notice. You know? Oh yeah, you had your auction stuff. That's right. Slip right in there. Yeah, the weather's getting cold. I'm not a fan. You know? I'm not a fan at all of all this encroaching winter. That's what you want to call it. Fall. you know. But yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been colder than I would like. That's for sure. You know, and who wants to start cranking the heat up? You know, and then you get in that weird situation where it's, you know, hot and cold all at the same time. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that at all. I don't. Oh yeah, South Texas. Yeah, you'd be warm all year. You know, very little in the way of it being a pain in the ass, I suppose. So I got to remember which lines I decided to actually ink and the ones that are going to be, you know, kind of displaced by fire, so there's no back to them. So I'm just doing the fire stuff kind of first. Okay. Well, what's going on, Shelby? How you doing? I see a handful of people in here kicking around. What's going on? I'm gonna pull this from that crack. You know what I'm saying? You got to pull. You know, pull it from that crack. Just the way it is. Yep. Exactly. Oh, let's go. Let's go red velvet. Yes. Let's get some delicious red velvet chocolate in here because it's a flavor. You know? Possibly the realest flavor. Who can say? You know? That's just me. Oh, I have to... Sumo's not here yet. I have to enter the drinking into over top of the art so he can be sad. Listen, man, Edwin, whenever I said, Shelby, whenever I said to Edwin, hey, send me your address and I'll just send it out to you, I couldn't even tab over to Twitter faster than he had dropped his address in my DMs. He wanted that, so like he was like, what, you'll send that to me? He was in there, like he was like he needed this. He needed this in his life, and I get it, you know. I mean, it almost went in the trash. It almost went in the trash, you know. And then I was like, I think I can save this. I think I can save it, you know. Oh, Sumo, you just got here. Hello. Let me bring this drink over top of all this art, you know. Just for you, buddy. Just for you. You know. All right, let's keep pulling desperate little bits of fire here. Oh, hey, KSS, what's going on? An intergalactic cop, you say? I hear that this young gentleman, this svelte man of the sea, of stars, is an intergalactic cop. You know? That's what I hear. Anyway. No, and look at it. Okay, you guys, Edwin's not even here. You're gonna see the card that he's gonna get. This is the card he's gonna get. I'm gonna stick that in this card. It's a blank card. I'm gonna write him a haiku, possibly a soliloquy in there. And then I'm gonna stuff it in this also very fall envelope. Right? Just for Edwin. You know? And that's it, right? Like I'm gonna spoil Edwin. You know what I mean? You know, because he deserves it. You know what I'm saying? So, see, I'm gonna seal it. Listen, I'm gonna seal it with sparkle stickers. Yeah, exactly. Right. If you're not out there getting, getting got. As it were, you're not getting. That's the way I look at it. But yeah, listen, he was clearly very excited about it. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a good home. I'll let it thrive. You know what I mean? I'll send it to its forever home. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hey, Bug Lover. Nice to see you here. Everyone is welcome. Except for possibly Sumo and maybe Omer. They're not really welcome, but I let them come around anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's all good. Just be forewarned. Everybody's full of jokes. They don't mean anything by it. You know what I mean? They're just jokes. Don't worry about it. But yeah, welcome. We're just gonna chill. We're just relaxing. Doing some art. But yeah, the Edwin was fast. He was fast with those digits, getting straight up in here, trying to secure that union piece. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hey, Angela, what's going on? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to draw a blue kake at some point. That's true. These big sharp incisors. No? KS, not KSS, A1. She's alive and welcome. How long have I been doing art? God, probably, I don't know, since I was like 5. I don't know, probably 30 years. I don't know. Depends on how you look at it, right? Like when you're a kid and you're just doodling and drawing and drawing Excalibur and weird characters and stuff like that. You're kind of just mimicking what's in the books, right? You're not really an artist, right? You're just kind of a kid trying to copy things. But seriously or professionally or whatever, I don't know, like 10, 15 years. God damn it, Sumo. God damn it, Sumo. God damn it. But I will say, it's never too late. It's one of those things, right? Like if you want to get into art at any point, you just got to put the time in. You just got to put the work in. That's it. right? Like it's I don't know, like art is one of those things, and it's kind of the thing I love about it is that it's problem solving, right? Like it's always problem solving. Like you're kind of always trying to figure out how to represent the 3D world on a flat piece of paper. You're trying, you know what I mean? You're always trying to solve how that angle works, how that weight is weighted, like, you know, on someone's hip or whatever, how they're standing, all that kind of stuff. You know, and so yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like it's constant problem solving, even when you know what you're doing. It's constant problem solving, right? Like, because you still, you know, you can't just do the same thing over and over. You got to figure out new stuff. You got to learn new stuff. It's an ever evolving process, right? Like, and that's kind of the problem too, right? For a lot of people, like they get stagnant, they get complacent, and they just decide not to keep learning. You know, they don't think they need to brush up on the anatomy. They don't think they, you know, need to, you know, be the old dog that learns the new trick. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, if you like art or gonna get into art, just start doing it. And then, like, as you find out where you're, yeah, like that. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like as you find out where you're deficient, you go and fix those things. Like, right? Like if you can't draw hands, you learn how to draw hands. If you can't draw faces, you learn how to draw faces. You know, if you can't draw trees, you just start drawing a bunch of trees, right? Like you find your weak points, and you know, make them less weak. Yeah, Dale's vitamin D deficient. Needs to go out and touch some grass, possibly take a supplement. Oh, hey, what's up, Rushbrook? How you doing? But yeah, we're just goofing here. Not really taking it too seriously, but you know. Hey, what's going on, Guinness? Hey, Edwin's here. Look, everybody's rolling in. Good God. Okay, let's get this little last few licks going here. Oh yeah, I heard about that, Michael. Yeah, I hope she's okay. I hope everything's well. You know. Or will be well with rest. You know. Well, it's good to hear, Michael. It's good to hear. You know? Do. Damn. M3 the best of us. I wanted to give little flamey, you know, eyebrows. You know what I'm saying? It entertained me, so I did it. That's the key. That's the key to the whole thing. Be entertained by it. Yeah, everybody, listen. Smash that like. You know, subscribe if you're not. You know, share it out in social media. Tell your mom about, you know, skulls on fire, the streets burning with desire. You know what I mean? Listen, Omer. You need to calm down. I will get a restraining order. You know? You know what I'm saying? I think you do. I think you've possibly had a restraining order. You know? I think this is 19. I had to do some work last weekend on my house, you know, a bunch of get up on the old scaffolding and all that kind of stuff. And do some exterior stuff to get the house ready for winter. So it kind of cut into my casual ability to sketch a handful of these out. But yeah, I will. Union counts. Listen, union counts. Okay? Union's gonna count. Right? Just because, like, you know, if I take union out, does that mean it means less? You know what I mean? But I got a handful here. I got this sassy dude. Because I was like, hey, if people are gonna phone them in and just draw headshots, then I'm gonna do some headshots, right? Like, if you guys are gonna if I don't have to draw hands and think about where the hands go, man, I could just crank out headshots all fucking day. I wouldn't even have to think about it. So yeah, that's why these last three are gonna be headshots, right? Like, I was just like, ooh, it's a good call. It's a good call, everybody. Let's do some headshots. You know? Right? Like if it's one thing, you know, that I'm confident in is my ability to draw the human head. You know? And from pretty much any angle too. Like I just kind of at the point where I don't have to think too hard about it, even if it's like an upshot or something like that. But for whatever reason, right, hands. It's not that I find hands hard to draw. It's that I just can't think of how to like the pose. Like I'm like, ooh, you know, how am I gonna have them stand? Because you know, if you put their hands in a certain way, it conveys a lot of information, right? Like you're literally, you know, kind of expressing their mood and their the whole vibe, right? Like, and so I always kind of like question it. Like, you know, is the hand going to be on their hip? Is it going to be in front of them? They're going to put it on their lip? Like, you know, I just, for whatever reason, it's like that's the thing that gets me thinking, right? Just because I don't want, like, I don't know, I just feel certain when I draw certain things, like headshots, like to me headshots are lazy, right? Like they're the one of those things I can just do without really thinking about it. And so when I do stuff, I kind of want to do something a little different. I kind of want to think about it a bit more. And so yeah, I just kind of go, okay, well, I'm gonna throw some hands in here. I'm gonna, you know, put them in some kind of pose, you know, or do something with the lighting, you know, where I have to like think about things, right? Like where I have to kind of do something a little different, and you know, and go, well, you know, how is this gonna work? You know, just for a dumb sketch, right? Like, but I still put enough thought into it to be like, hey, I'm gonna do something kind of different here. You know, not that there's anything new under the sun, but you know what I mean. Exactly. I'm about to throw dem hands. But yeah, I was talking to Noah about like faces and stuff the other day. You know, and I think it was I think because I showed him this guy, and he was just like, kind of like, oh, he's like, you really darkened around his eyes, like, and I was like, yeah, you know, like I was like, you kind of have like the under the eyelid, and then you have the over the eyelid, but you don't want to give them an eyelash, but you also kind of want it to be kind of cool stylized, right? You just don't want to do that oval shape and there just be an eye. You know what I mean? You want there to be some kind of depth to it, right? You don't want their face to be flat. And so we were talking about kind of how Silvestri does that too, right? Like it looks like a lot of his guys have like kind of like an eyeliner or a mascara, you know, and it kind of gives the guys a bit more like depth to their face, right? Without going full eyelash, right? And so yeah, we were talking about the way Silvestri does it, stuff like that. So you know, so that's fun. Okay, slip around in here. exactly. Kaneda! Tetsuo! I mean, that'd be a pretty beefy fucking... That'd be a pretty beefy Kaneda. You know what I mean? Look at that neck. You know? Get over here. Right? Where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna draw these dumb orbital bones. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that goes under. But also, like, I like this experiment with the 31 days kind of thing. Oh, hey, Scamps, what's going on? Because a lot of times I just put up like ladies, or I'm doing, you know, something for some campaign or something like that, and I just put a thing up or whatever. And so I haven't been putting up anything for my book or anything like that, right? I've been kind of holding back on that till a lot more things are ready. You know what I mean? He looks like a Virtua Fighter and Mortal Kombat had an inbred love child. Man, there's a new Virtua Fighter coming, and I'm pretty fucking stoked. That's just happenstance with Mark. He has an aesthetic because he has such a hard time getting the eyes shaped the way he wants. I did compliment his faces for the darkness. Oh, really? Well, isn't there that quote? Doesn't Mark Silvestri have that quote? Like, what's the hardest thing to draw? And he's like, the other eye. Isn't that a Mark Silvestri quote? Hey, Jim Cox, what's going on? Yes, Jim. It's a poorly kept secret, but I have a book. Don't you worry about it. Yeah. So yeah. You know, and I've shown characters. There are streams where I've pulled up characters that will be running rampant in this book. And yeah. So it's a poorly kept secret, but it's not ready yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things going on in my existence that, you know, have kind of pushed things back. This house ownership being one of them. So, yeah, no. All right. But yeah, good to see you, Jim. Good to see you. Yes, my Canadian existence has made it more of a chore than it should be, I guess. But I also want to do it differently than other people have been doing with their crowdfunders and all that kind of stuff. I want the book to be done, printed, stacked in a pile, and then you go, hey, I want that, and I go, ship, here you go. And then I'm going to save the crowdfunding aspect of it for slipcovers and things like that, right? Like, there'll be a slipcover variant kind of thing, right? And that will be a crowdfunder thing, but the base product will be done and Gucci in your hands, you know? So yeah, right. Not 50K copies. That's insane. But like, you know, it'll have a proper ISBN number, the whole bit, right? Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Jim. I've been watching, and I've been seeing the pitfalls and mistakes of other people, right? And I've already put together a mailing list, all that kind of stuff, right? And so, like, I want to launch a product, right? And I want it to be done, and I want it to be able to exist in a bookstore, and an Amazon. You know, you ship them however many books they want to order from you. Boom, It'll be on my web store, and then I'll be like, okay, you know, because since people want to see the number go up, I can put it on Indiegogo, or I can put it on Kickstarter or whatever, right? Fund My Comic, whatever, and I can just throw a slipcover variant or a sketch cover slipcover variant for the book, because I'm also not doing, here's a 48-page book that ends on a cliffhanger, and now you've got to wait 2 years for the next book. That's a part of the other reason why it's been delayed, is that I'm retooling it to be more like an episode, right? Like say an episode of the A-Team. You can watch the first episode of the A-Team or the last episode of the A-Team, and they're pretty self-contained episodes, right? Like you can watch it. They have an adventure. It has a start, you know, middle, and end. And you're like, oh, that was a good story. B.A. Baracus really kicked ass that episode. And then the next episode happens, and another story happens. And there might be a subplot that carries through. Like you might learn more about B.A. Baracus. And you go, oh, that's pretty cool. But it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. You pity the fool who hasn't watched the A-Team. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, and you can watch most of those shows and you still get a story out of it. But if you pick up volume 2 and go, oh man, this was really cool, I really enjoyed this story, is there more? And you can go back and read volume 1 and you might be like, oh shit, there was cool stuff in that. It doesn't change the second volume, but it's additive. You know, there's subplots and things like that run through or whatever, but it's all self-contained. Each volume is self-contained, you know. Because listen, I've bought some books. And I've read the first one, and I'm like, wow, it ends on a fucking cliffhanger, like it's a 22-page book that I'm gonna wait 3 weeks for, in amongst all my other books. But the 3 weeks turns into 2 years or 3 years, right? And at that point, I forget what even happened in that book. I don't even give a fuck anymore. And then the next book comes, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, and you're like, why is there a splash page of a frog on a fucking lawn chair? What the fuck is this bullshit? You know? Yeah, right? Well, okay, Jim. You're gonna wait till you have 3 of them piled up. Are you pulling retirement by that time, right? You're getting your social security checks coming in by the time you have those 3 issues piled up. I just think it's nonsense, right? I think that if you're going to have that model of waiting to tell the story, you either tell the story in a way that you can enjoy it and you feel fulfilled with that one volume, that one issue, whatever you want to call it, and then it naturally goes into the next issue without it being a cliffhanger that you're like, oh, I got to wait 3 years to find out what's going on, right? And so for me, that a lot of that stuff dictated how I wanted to move forward for myself and for the people who would potentially be reading the books, right? And so I'm just kind of like, it doesn't make any sense to me to put a book out and then have people wait 2 years to find out what happens, right? Like you give them that story and they go, oh shit, that's awesome, I enjoyed that story. And then if they never read it again, like if they never get volume 2, or they miss volume 2 somehow and end up with volume 3, they get to read another story, enjoy those characters in that world, but it's self-contained, right? Like there'll be, you know, things in there for the fan, so to speak. There'll be subplots and nuances and, you know, Easter eggs or whatever, you know. But you won't be like, oh my God, I didn't read volume 2, so I have no clue what's happening. You know? And so that's my thing with it. I would prefer, as a creator and as a reader, to kind of give people a standalone experience each time that's additive to the experience before it or after it, right? So yeah, so like I said, I've been around. I've seen things going on, and since I'm, writing, drawing, and coloring, it all myself, I can choose how I want it put out there, right? Like I don't have to ask anybody's permission to do anything. I don't have to, check with anyone and have to do anything like that, Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, like, but like to me, like, I don't know, like putting out, like being a commercial artist and putting out a monthly book is completely different. It's a different skill set than a person who's creating like, Black Sad, like a graphic novel kind of adventure thing, right? Like where you're just like, oh, I'm going to get this one contained story. He's going to take a year or two to make it. It's going to be 64 or 100 pages or something like that. And every few years he puts out a book. I prefer that, or Marini. He's done some work on the Batman stuff, or hold on, look at this. Hold on, we're gonna goddamn. All right, hold on. Do. These aren't exactly what I was going to grab, but it gets the point across. I personally would prefer something like this. You get this nice one shot. It tells a complete story. You get to see some Chaikin doing big hands, doing ladies, but you get this one big story, right? And that's it. And it's like a hardcover. It's a nice format. And you get that complete story and you can read it and then just put it down and enjoy it. Standalone. Yeah, the writer's hugely into hands. He based all these hands off of a young Shelby Robertson. Or something like this. Red one. Right? Like, and you get these. And see, I also love this oversized format too. And so, you get these books and they have a big complete story in them. You get to sit down, enjoy, and I also like stuff that's bigger, like this, because we'll use this backlash comic for scale, right? You're getting this big thing that you get to sit down at a table and kind of pour over. It's more of an experience. It's more like pulling out a vinyl. It's more like, getting. Like this is fine. Backlash is fine. It's good, right? Like you're going to sit down, you're going to get your 22-page book, You're going to flip through it. And then next month, well, it's Image. Maybe next month, maybe 3 months from now, you're going to get that book, you know? Yeah, right? Like this, what is this comic made for? Ants. So tiny. You know, but like, that's the thing, like this larger format where you can just get in here, just over it, you know? Yeah, you know, that's the forward. That's what's moving forward. Like, I just see, look at this. We got the pencils, some blue line under there, you know? I love this stuff. Oh, it's so good. So good. I like it. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, I don't know. I think, like, even manga, like, at least even with a manga, you're going to get, like, say it's like Chainsaw Man or something like that, or Gigant. It's like 10 volumes, or like 200 pages each. And that's the book. That's the story, start, beginning, middle, and end. And that's it. You know? You get to read a story. You know? Exactly. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. And I like that about you. You know? But yeah, I've seen things happen. I've seen the pitfalls. I've seen the mistakes. I've seen, you know, the mea culpas, if you will, through no fault of their own, get put in positions where they're just fucked, right? Like, and so I would rather come to the table. I've seen some shit. I've been in the trenches of a fucking virtual Normandy. You know what I'm saying? And the bullets have whizzed by my head, the markers, the paper, the comics, you know? And so that's the thing, right? Like, I don't know. I just think, like, as quaint as the 22-page floppy is, you know, and I know there's people who are just that bristles. They bristle at me calling a 22-page floppy quaint. And that's great, right? That's great. But it's like vinyl. It's a smaller and smaller market as the days go on, right? There'll always be people who are into comics, just like there are always people who are into vinyl. But when a manga sells 10 million copies and a crappy manga blows away Marvel and DC's top 100 books, just one volume of any even slightly, you know, known or successful manga monthly destroys, you know, the American comic book industry as a whole, right? Like, it's you know, it's sad. It's really sad how far it's fallen, right? But no, it's not make manga. It's like, if you go into the stores, like if you go into a big box bookstore, it's all trades, right? Hold your horses there, Jay. It doesn't apply to all my books, dude. What? No, but, like, you know what I mean, right? Like, you don't see, there's no spinner racks anymore. You don't walk into, like, you used to walk into a drugstore or a convenience store or even like a furniture store, and there was spinner racks everywhere, right? Like, when I was growing up, like girls, like dads I knew had comic book shops in their basement. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, oh, hey, what's going on? They'd be like, oh, you're into comics? My dad is a comic book shop in his house. Right? Like, comic book shops were super common, and comics were super common. Bookstores just had spinner racks, like everything, right? And now it's like, you have to, like, find a comic book store, right? Like, and you have, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and there might be one close to you. Like, for me to go to a comic book store, I have to drive, like, for where I live now, I have to drive like an hour to go to a single comic book store, right? That isn't even modern like issue. It's all back issue stuff, right? And so like, and then like if I back in where I was in the city, there was like probably 5 to 8 comic book stores, right? There's a couple just purely back issue stores, and then there was ones that just had pulls, and that was pretty much it. There wasn't really even anything on the shelf. And then there was like a lot of other ones that were like more about like Pokemon cards and Magic, and they also had a small comic section and toys and back issues, you know, but it wasn't what I would call a comic book store. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's interesting to kind of see where it's headed, right? And then everything's written for the trade anyway now, right? Like guys are writing their 5 or 6 issues, and they know there's going to be a trade, right? And I'm kind of like, let's fucking cut out the middleman and let's just put out trades, you know? Spinner Rack Distro Center went out of business around 20. That really feels right. I agree. Like that really does feel right. Weekly Hallmark card restocks. Yeah. That's why there aren't normie stores. I don't know if anyone knows that. Yeah, that checks out. But like, I don't know, even for a hot minute, like a lot of like at least here, like, right, at least where I'm living, a lot of the not a lot of the grocery stores still had magazine racks. And so you would still see just a corner section where it would just be like a few Marvel titles like Avengers and X-Men and stuff like that on a shelf beside some DC, Superman, whatever, right? And so for at least a little while, you could still kind of pick up the odd book, and you can still today. I still see all the Archie Digest stuff in grocery stores, right? Like the Archie Digest stuff is still in any grocery store you see by the counter, like where you're going to ring out. There are always Archie Digest stuff right beside the Monster energy drinks. It's the funniest shit here. But yeah, you're always going to see some of that stuff. Still, like, you know, to me, it's weird to walk into a place and see, you know, Archie books, you know. But yeah, like, yeah, it's funny. It's funny to think about, right? Like where it all kind of went. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's not the same, right? Like, it's like when we were kids, comic books were everywhere, right? Like it was pretty much impossible not to stumble upon them, right? Like there wasn't, you know, like I remember I was like in like the 5th grade, I was like trading like AC/DC records for comics and Transformers and stuff like that, right? Like I was like, you know, just weird shit like that where I was like, man, you know, I want to get these books. This kid wants a record. I can get some cheap AC/DC records. I'm going to trade them these for Transformers and comics. You know what I mean? Like, just like weird shit like that. Like as a kid where you were like, yeah, I'm going to cut these deals. But yeah, comics were everywhere. It was such an interesting kind of time. But like, that's also the thing too. Like, yeah, what's a record? Exactly. But like, that's the thing. Like, most of like the kids and stuff now have like my nephew. I was playing Fortnite with my nephew, and he's like 13, right? Him and his friend asked me if I knew what 6-7 was, and when I knew what 6-7 was, they were like, awesome. Like, you know what I mean? But like, to them, it's like, hey, Batman's a character in Fortnite, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, oh yeah, Batman, that Fortnite character, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's the weird, the very weird part of it all, right? And so you just kind of like, when's Union coming to Fortnite? Oh, Jesus Christ. Union is never like, imagine if they had like, okay, if for some strange reason it was like Image comic characters coming to Fortnite, it would be Spawn. That's it. Invincible. Oh, the Walking Dead guys are already in Fortnite. You know what I mean? Because they're not gonna. It wouldn't be Savage Dragon. It wouldn't be, Pit. It wouldn't be Cyber Force. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no one fucking knows who they are. And I know somebody's gonna have a conniption when I say that, but like, mainstream people have no fucking. Yes, Invincible's already in Fortnite. There you go. Right? So we just need Spawn, and the Image roster is complete. You know what I mean? But no, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're not super into comic books, well, exactly, nobody knows Pitt. Exactly. I agree. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, unless you're super into comics, most of the Image, like, titles, like, no one fucking knows about. Like, let's pull out a copy of The Others. I should get my Image The Others books out sometime. But yeah, right? Like, most comic characters are completely unknown to people, right? Like, most people know who Spider-Man is and Wolverine and Batman, Yeah, like, and so yeah, it's just, to me that shit's like super funny. And I just think it's because like a lot of people are in a bubble, right? And they're just kind of like, no, that stuff I grew up with is relevant. It was important. And it was like, no, it's not. Like, it might be important to you, but to the culture and society as a whole, it's fucking, a leaf in the wind. It's just not, it's not significant, right? Like, and I get it. Like, it's sad that people don't know about the thing that you like. I get it. But it's, yeah. Right? Like, or Grendel. Nobody knows who the fuck a Grendel is. If I was like, hey, have you heard of Matt Wagner's Grendel? Crickets. Like, if I'm like, hey, have you heard of Terry Moore? Like, people like, weep, 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 weep. Like, nobody fucking, like, I laugh. This was like, I think this was like in 2009, maybe 2010. I remember it was like, because this is when I was managing those two comic book stores. And I remember seeing Terry Moore complaining, I believe on Twitter. This was when it was like, maybe Twitter was around for a year or two at the time. Terry Moore was complaining that Sonic the Hedgehog outsold his Strangers in Paradise book. And I'm like, Terry Moore, you delusional, sad old man. Sonic the Hedgehog is known by millions of people around the world. And so when an Archie Sonic book outsells Strangers in Paradise, you should not be surprised. Right? Like, that to me back then was when I was like, oh, you guys don't know that nobody knows who the fuck you are. That nobody cares. Like, when you go to a convention and people are excited to see you, that's it. Right? Like, that's it, dude. That's it. Right? Like, when you're competing against Sonic the Hedgehog from the Sega Genesis and Saturn and Dreamcast and, Xbox and whatever it was at the time, 2009. So it would have been well into Xbox 360 time. Right? And so when you have a guy like Terry Moore being like, why are people buying the Sonic the Hedgehog comic over my comic? Why? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, dude, get out of here. And so I do think, like, in comics and like in the industry, there's a certain delusion or bubble that the shit that people are working on is important. And it is. Like, you know, I'm not saying the work isn't entirely important, but it's not as far-reaching or as influential as they think it is. Right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the thing. Listen, I hope Terry Moore is listening to this and crying in the shower. Like, you know, and nothing against them. Well, no, wait, hold on. I actually do have something against Terry Moore because he was putting out those fucking Strangers in Paradise books and not inking them. Just putting out like pencil scans. And I'm like, dude, your book's black and white. You could fucking ink it. But he didn't want to miss his deadlines. And so he's trying to put the book out. And so he put out a bunch of issues of Strangers in Paradise that weren't inked. They were just pencils. And it was like, bro, you had one job. You know what I mean? You're putting out your little indie book that's apparently supposed to sell better than Sonic the Hedgehog, and you can't even fucking ink those pages. Get the hell out of here. Get the fuck out of here, Terry. You go cry in the shower, you motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, what were you doing, Terry? When Sonic the Hedgehog was coming out in full color, what were you doing, buddy? Yeah. You know. But yeah, you know, long story short, fuck that guy. You know how it is. All right, we got some rags to fill in here. Man, here's the problem. If you talk for too long and then the pen doesn't touch the page, it dries. And then when you go to put your mark down. Yeah, listen. I hope he is crying in the shower. Nothing against him, but maybe he realizes now that Sonic the Hedgehog is way bigger than anything he's ever done. Do you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, you know? Yeah, you know, so if he is someplace, Sumo, crying in the shower as we speak, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? When is Faust? Yeah. When's Faust making appearance in Fortnite? When is fucking hell? I don't know. When's Backlash? When's Backlash making an appearance in Fortnite? When's Shadowhawk? You know. You know, and listen, I get it. I'm shitting on the people whose shoulders we are standing on today. I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things, right? Like, you kind of, if you don't know what's going on around you, that's a kind of on you moment, bro. Like, but I mean, okay, fucking hell. I watched the Ringo Awards. For anybody that doesn't know, they had created this foundation for Mike Waringo. You know, he worked on Fantastic Four. He had his own creator-owned book, Telios. Things like that. I watched those awards, and I've never wanted to go punch a twirled mustached chip kid in the face harder in my entire life. I could not get over just the pompousness, the unearned arrogance, the like clearly open bar. And then like there was this other one guy who came up and he was doing art on some book, and he basically like got down on his hands and knees and was like thanking that he was allowed to work on a book about like a gay couple because he was a cis white man. And I was just like, oh dude, like, you're an artist, they hired you to draw the book, like, what are you doing? Like, stop. Right? Like, I'm just like that like, you know, these are people who wear scarves indoors, right? And that is like that whole arrogance, that unearned smugness, that like, ugh. Like the comic industry just seems full of these people, and it's just, I was like, if that's, you know, I was waiting for somebody to like say rarefied air, you know, so that I could like be happy about burning the place down. Hello, Red. How are you doing? You know, I don't know. I hate artsy fartsy. I can't stand it. I hate like that kind of that unearned arrogance that like a lot of these people have, because the only reason why they have some of the shit that they have is because of their in-group. Like it's, I don't know, it's so dumb. Because it's not talent. That's for sure. They're like not there because of talent. But whatever. You know? But it is what it is. But yeah, and also like a lot of these awards were given out to stuff that was 2 or 3, in some cases 2 or 3 years old. And I was like, what? And then stuff that I had never heard of. Like I was like, oh, the guy for Eric Powell, the goon guy, got an award, and then he went on about getting a sandwich. Like the whole thing was like very annoying. Like I was like, wow, this is supposed to be like an award show for creators and people who, you know, were making cool thing. But it was like somehow Eric Powell does this book called The Goon. It's a Dark Horse book. And so anyway, like I don't, it somehow seemed like worse than the Eisners. Like the Eisners turned into a complete like just like wank show, right? Like like the Eisners used to mean something, right? When a book got nominated for an Eisner, you were like, oh shit, like this is pretty interesting. This is going to be cool. Like I'm going to check that out. Now it just means that it's like, you know, LGBTQ plus friendly or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so, yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those things where, and it's fine. I don't care if you have a, you know, gay, lesbian, bicycle anthology. I don't care about that. Make whatever you want, but it shouldn't be getting an award just for existing, right? It should actually be good. Do you know what I mean? The story should be good. The art should be good. It should get nominated because it's good. Not because of weird politics stuff or whatever, right? And so, yeah, just, you know, yeah, cool. Celebrate cool things. Make cool things. But I don't know. There's always like a weird kind of politic thing to comics now anyway. It's been like that for a hot minute. And I mean, everything has its own, you know, bit of politics as far as, you know, who's involved in what group, and, you know, in group bias, out group bias, all that kind of stuff, you know, that kind of fun. But yeah, long story short, man, there were a lot of dudes with dumb mustaches there. And I was offended by them. You know? That's it. That's all. That's the story. Do 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 do. No, can't do that. I feel like I'm about to commit a cardinal sin right now. No, actually, here's okay. No, Henry, no. I mean, yes, most mustaches are terrible, right? Like you look like you shouldn't be around a park, right? You get a mustache, stay away from parks. You know, kids schools, etc. You know, just you look weird. Stop it. No, but like Strangers in Paradise was fine. He made other books, you know, like I'm not saying you suck, Terry Moore. I'm just saying in a world that Sonic the Hedgehog exists and has an Archie comic, you should not expect your book to sell more than it. Right? And you should probably be happy that kids are buying comic books. Because when they grow up, maybe they'll buy your weird lesbian book. Right? Like, that's all I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. That's all. I'm not out here, you know, trying to, you know, make Terry Moore's tears in the shower, you know, any more, you know, upsetting than they probably already are. But, you know, I'm not worried about Terry Moore either. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Not worried about Terry Moore. I think he's got to be pretty old, like by now, right? He was old back then, right? He was one, like, okay, here's the weird thing though, right? Was Terry Moore actually old, or was he like George Costanza? And like George was like in his 30s, but looked like he was like, you know, way older in Seinfeld, like, you know what I mean? So maybe he's like in his late 50s or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just all I'm saying. Right? Yeah. You know, like, who knows how, you know, who knows if Terry Moore is crying right now. You know, press 1. You know, that's all I'm saying. Just let me know if Terry Moore is in fact crying right now. That's all I want to know. I'm gonna go something thicker. I don't want to fuck with this. Yeah, that'll do it. But yeah, you know, listen, I'm not going to cry over Terry Moore's spilt milk. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here for that. You know, and I'm sure Terry's a wonderful guy, you know? See, that's what I'm saying. See, Henry? And I'm right about the George Costanza, right? I'm 100% right about the George Costanza. Where was I at here? Oh yeah, I wanted to do this to separate it. See, sometimes you get that hairline, you know what I mean? And Terry Moore is that sometimes. That's it. Nothing against him. Right, but that's the thing, right? Like, I can be critical of his opinion in that moment, right, and not dislike him as a person, right? Like, do you know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, that is the thing. I'm just like, you have no idea what's going on in the world, Terry Moore, sir. If you think that your little indie book that sometimes you can't even ink, you put out just pencils, should be outselling Sonic the Hedgehog in 2009, right? Like, to me that's delusional. Like, at no point in history of the planet Earth should anybody, especially Terry Moore, be like, oh yeah, I should be outselling Sonic the Hedgehog comics, right? I'm just saying. I'm not here to sell him down the river, but I'm just saying, bro. You know, it ain't that good. That's all. You know? I should do that background, shouldn't I? Not with this, though. No, I don't want to do that either. Oh, yes. How dead are you? Yes. You're just dead enough. I'm going to have to order more of these. Because I like them. You know? Unlike Terry Moore. You know what I mean? I hope that bug guy wasn't Terry Moore's, like, nephew or anything. He just shows up to a random stream. Some dude blasts his uncle out of the water. Oh, God. See? See? Rushbrook gets it. Rushbrook gets it. Right? Oh. Yes, that's just it. See? See, people with common sense roll into the arena. You're like, you just say a simple fact. Hey, bro, your indie book, you think you should be outselling Sonic the Hedgehog? And people go, what? Exactly. Okay, but here's the thing though. KSS. In 2000, I'm going to say it's somewhere between 2003 and 2009. Terry Moore said this. So at least we're going to say 15 to 20 years ago, he thought that Sonic the Hedgehog is something that should be in his rearview mirror. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, bro, come on. What are you doing? Right? That's all I'm saying. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not saying I dislike the man, you know, as a human or anything like that. I'm just saying, bro, that's a bad take. You know? Like, at any point in time, somebody should have told you that Sonic the Hedgehog will be around longer than you. Right? Like, You know, Sonichu, right? Someone with a Sonichu medallion should have came up to Tony Moore and said, "Bro." You know, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You know, maybe Brian Lee O'Malley should have came up to him and said, "Listen, I make Scott Pilgrim. I'm gonna put a Clash at Demon's Head reference in my book, and you're thinking that Sonic the Hedgehog is gonna be selling less than Strangers in Paradise." You know what I mean? Listen, at this stage, at 71, he's lucky that his tear ducts work, let alone he can get in the shower. You know? That's all I'm saying. I'm out here trying to keep it real for the man. Yeah. Like, here's the thing, right? I say this, and then it's like, oh, no respect. And then I'm just like, no, it's not like I don't hate the man. I'm just like, dude, that is a take that will not stand the test of time. That, like, even the day he said it, it was like, what? You know? That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not a long-term take that anyone serious, like, that knows the landscape should have. That's all I'm saying. Just read the room, understand that in the scheme of things, Strangers in Paradise is a drop in the bucket. Sonic the Hedgehog is something known worldwide. You know, get your ego out of it. You know? And understand that nobody knows fucking what Strangers in Paradise is. Or cares. Right? Like, you know? I mean, look, like, think about, like, you know, people know who Rob Liefeld is because of, like, Deadpool. They don't know what Youngblood is. They don't know what Prophet is. They don't know what Evangeline is. Or any of that shit. Exactly. What is Strangers in Paradise? Strangers in Paradise is a book by Terry Moore that he drew and wrote and inked sometimes. You know. Other times he just put out the pencils to the store in a book that was an indie book, but hey, it was supposed to outsell Sonic the Hedgehog. Classic. I don't have anything. The only graded book that I own, because I don't give a fuck about grading books. Books are meant to be read, not slabbed. Is that one I bought off of Shelby as a joke, and that's the Sarah Jessica Parker Doodle Jump book, you know? And now Shelby's going to come in here and be like, I was a joke to you? I was a fucking joke? Ah! And I'm going to be like, bro. You know? I do, but I will open it, Henry. I will buy your copy. And yeah, and the only reason I even, like, entertain that Doodle Jump, see, exactly. No, like, and the only reason, like, it's not a 9.8, and so it's funny to me that Shelby has a book that's not a 9.8, and I like that. I like that I own a not 9.8 Shelby Robertson sketch cover Doodle Jump. That entertains me, right? But do I care that it's in the package or the grading? No, I do not. Do not care in the slightest. It's not something I even think about. Yeah, I just don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. Like, because, you know, as a dude who collects games and comics and stuff like that. I think the grading stuff is stupid. Like people get video games graded like comic books. They get sealed away and you can't play it. It's a sealed copy of a game that no one's ever going to play. And some of these games are rare, right? Like you get a slab, whatever. Nobody gives a fuck about comic books. Jesus Christ, you want to talk about a niche within a niche within a niche? Fucking slabbed comic books. Get the fuck out of here. Right? But that's the thing. Like, I own copies of games that there are sub 5,000 copies on the planet. Right? So if you own, say, something like, I'm trying to think, like I've got like Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Sega Saturn, incredibly rare game. I have Panzer Dragoon Mini for the Game Gear, incredibly rare game. I got Spike Out for the original Xbox. There's like 3,000 copies of that game made, right? And so if you start slabbing, just for sumo, if you start slabbing games that have 3,000 copies left, then that's, and say 200 of those 3,000 are slabbed. Right? That's 200 copies that people will never be able to play. And then you have to factor in me flooding people's basements, fires, natural disasters, things like that, right? That take however many copies out of that over time, right? And so then you get down to a point where there might be like, say, 1,500, right? Actual playable copies of a game available. Right? And so you're literally getting to a point where a fraction of a percentage of the people on the planet can actually own and play that game, right? Unless you have unless you're getting a ROM of it somewhere, right? But that's the thing, right? There are games that they've literally lost the master to. They don't have the original source code. You know what I mean? So you can't even port it to anything. You'd have to run it in an emulator and then run that emulator on the new Xbox or the PS5 or whatever, right? So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, long story short, Terry Moore crying in the shower. Listen, just because I'm thinking about that right now, and it's exceedingly pleasing to my senses, right? Like, I'm just sitting around thinking to myself, man, I hope that guy's having a bad day. Why not? Yeah, short story long time, Terry Moore, yeah, listen, it's not. No, never mind. Nope. Do. But yeah, anyway, you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You're good. But yeah, I don't know. What do you want me to do about Terry Moore? I can't do anything. Just went to Terry Moore's channel after I said here on Center still cry. Does he have a YouTube channel? Seriously? Oh, that's like, if he really does have a YouTube channel, that'd be amazing. I mean, I suppose it wouldn't completely surprise me. Ben Dunn has a YouTube channel, right? Antarctic Press, Ben Dunn, Warrior Nun. So yeah, that's fine, right? Ben Dunn had to compete with Sonic somehow. But yeah, but that's the sad thing, Rad. A lot of games, because they weren't interested in preserving or didn't even think of game preservation at the time. They just like deleted the games off the hard drive when they were done. Once the game shipped, they just were like, whoop, master gone, source code gone. Yeah, really, you know what I mean? And like, even to this day, there are a lot of companies and stuff like that just have no respect or appreciation for their back catalog. And it's no different. Like Marvel and DC are the same. Like a lot of the big companies, they're very much the same in that they just don't, they just don't care that people would rather be reading their old stuff or at least have access to it, right? It's like a lot of people just, are like, hey, I'd like to actually own this run of Excalibur in this nice hardcover format. That's all I'm saying. Do. Man, it's so dry. PPS. What? Postscript? J. Terry Moore has a video, How I Ink. It's short. It's a short video. All right. All right. Yeah, I don't like. Listen, I'm not out here. I'm not out here to take Terry Moore down. I'm just saying, guys. Yeah, right. Like, come on. Poor Ron Lim. Shelby, do you think that Ron Lim is entitled, to the gratuity of his books being reprinted and him getting a cut? Do you think that he is entitled to residuals? That's all I'm asking. Or should he, like Terry Moore, cry himself to sleep every night and every day in the shower? That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying, Shelby, go to war with me against these men. Strangers in Paradise shot sobbing in the shower. Yes. Good God. Incredible. But yeah, that's just how it is, guys. That's just how it is. That's right. Practically stippling because this thing's so dry. Yeah, so good. God, poor Terry Moore. I'm sticking with this because if I go with anything else, it'll be way wetter. And then I'll have to full black it in. I'd rather it be kind of soft like that. I like the softness. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, girl? Because there's nothing on this tip. I'll tell you that for free. Jay, I don't really hate Terry Moore. I just really, really, really don't like him. No, I don't. I actually don't have anything against him. I really don't. I just think it's a ridiculous statement, right? You know, I think it's a ridiculous statement, and also fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, but like that's the thing, right? Like, like I said before, like I can disagree with the idiocy of the statement and not actually hate the man. You know what I mean? I can have a differing opinion and not want to see him homeless. You know? That's all. That's all I'm saying. You know? That's all I'm saying. Listen, I like that for you, Shelby. I like that. All right. So done. He's there. He's ready to, he's burning up. He's ready to go. All right. Skull Man done. You know, we're getting in here. All right. We're going to get in here. We're going to go. Yes, he's on fire like my extreme hatred for Terry Moore. I've got black ink on my hand. I don't want to rub it on everything. All right. Let's get in here. Let's get these. This Craggle, you know, this Kris Kringle, if you will. Yeah, listen, I'm sure he's nice. I'm sure he's a wonderful old man. You know? That's all I'm saying. I'm sure he's okay. You know? See, that's how things get out of hand, right? Like you disagree with someone's stance almost 20 years ago, and you want to see them homeless. Apparently, you know, you hate them. You can't stand them. You know? That's it. And do I want to see him homeless? Fuck yeah, I do. You know? Fuck that guy. No. Like I said, I'm sure he's wonderful. I'm sure he's a wonderful man. See, this is why I warned the bug guy when he came in. You know, that things were going to be said, and it was all jokes. That's all I'm saying. Nice, Rushbrook. Getting it done out there. I like that for you. See, now, Michael, Mr. Mushbrook, sir. Would you not agree that it's easier to work off stream than it is to work on stream? You know what I mean? Because you got these people coming in acting like you hate Terry Moore. You know? And so you got to say, hey, I don't really hate Terry Moore. You know? I just want to see him, his family, suffer. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. You know? But what I'm saying is it's easier to draw when you're not on stream. You know? And then if I just want to get up and wander around and think about things, and then come back to it, I can do that, you know? But no, now I'm locked in here. I've gotta have these conversations about Terry Moore. You know? And maybe I want to, you know? That's the real question. Awesome one. Yes. Mm-hmm. Please invite Terry Moore and JD. I would do that. I would go on and be like, so Terry, you've had an interesting life. What made you think that you could outsell Sonic the Hedgehog in any month of the year, especially in the early 2000s? You know, discuss. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be a fun thing. You know? That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So Shelby, what kind of fruit, nut, or vegetable are you drawing right now? Right, like when the chips have fallen where they may, what breakfast angle are you working on? You know? Oh, I want to know. Look at him, he's like, oh, what's going on, Finnegan? You know? What bongo sample? If you could see my eyes, some person, it would be like the shifty-eyed dog. You know? You know? Just picture it. Just picture the shifty-eyed dog in me. You know? That's all I'm saying. Also, yeah, just picture it. Just think about it. I did 2 sketches of fruit to phone a few in. Had to catch up. Yeah, I mean, this is what Shelby, like, you know, this is what Shelby does, right? He like throws down these gauntlets, like, you know, to people like a young Michael Rushbrook. And he says, hey, you should be doing this. And then, you know, Rushbrook's out here painting stuff with acrylics, doing all this stuff, and then Shelby's like, I'm gonna draw an apple this week. Like, maybe some fruit. You know, Rushbrook's out there bringing out the airbrush. You know, he's putting on the mask. He's venting a room. Like, you know, he's like, and then Shelby's like, yeah, I'm just gonna draw these cherries very phallically up against this wall. Let's go. Sounds good. Sounds good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the thing I find, listen, Shelby, the thing I find interesting about this is like, are those pages going in the art book? Or are they just separate things that are going to go somewhere else? So they're just being done to pad out your numbers. I don't like what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, what is the deal? Like, you know, like, why is there a number 14? They are spooky fruit. God damn it, Shelby. They are spooky fruit. I hate this. I hate this for us. I hate this timeline. This Terry Moore, Shelby spooky fruit timeline has really thrown me for a loop. You know? Where I'm just like, I'm out here on these virtual streets and I'm getting spooky fruit. God damn. God damn. But that's the thing, you're not competing with 2008 Sonic. That's the problem. That is, in fact, the problem. I know, I seen him organize, and he put the zombie page right beside the vampire girl page. I've seen the whole thing. I've seen him do his numbers. It's gonna be, yeah, 6 7 6 7 6 7. Listen, damn. Yeah, listen. I'm here for it. I really am. I'm just not sure. You know, I'm just not sure. It's me. It's really me. I'm just not sure. Right? Like I guess that's the problem, Shelby. Like, you know, I don't see your vision, right? Like I get it. I get when we're talking, hey, should put some horns on that skull, right? That's the vision. I see that. I go, yeah, Jason really should put some horns on that skull. Should put some more skulls back there. You know? But yeah, the fruit vision, that's where I'm lost. You know? But like, you know, maybe I just don't have the wisdom, you know? I don't have the wisdom for it yet. Yeah, that will throw your days for a loop. That is for sure. Sitting around in a hospital or running around getting tests and stuff. No bueno, for sure. For sure. The whole time I was drawing this, I was thinking about when we were fixing the lips on Noah's character in his book. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, Shelby. And then the other day, Shelby pulled up that picture of the lips of Noah's character before we fixed them. And that made me laugh. I was a big fan. Because damn Noah. Damn. Yeah, where's Noah at? That kid just running around doing upper deckies. I told him I was going to tell you, Shelby, that he's doing upper deckies. He's got, you know, he's got the pillows, the mouth pillows. He was like, don't tell him. I was like, why? Because it's stupid? He's like, well. I'm like, yeah, exactly, Noah. Mm-hmm. Yes, that profile pic is amazing. It's my favorite thing. I mean, aside from LT he, let's be honest. Oh, no, this one's going. I can connect the dots, as it were. What? No, I ain't touching no banana. Damn. That'd be funny. I would enjoy that. A young Noah Mactudis talking to Terry Moore. That'd be funny. That would probably be more traumatic for Terry Moore than anything. Let's be real. You know? Mm-hmm. It's got to be almost time. Oh no, we're still in October, isn't it? I was gonna say, listen, I'm gonna level with you guys. I feel like there's a sumo stream coming, but I'm like, oh wait, it is the end of October, right? So there's got to be one happening in November, right? That's how every 2 months, right? It was September, the last sumo stream. I feel like red velvet cupcakes are better. They're portable. Listen, some person, you're 100% correct with that. I don't disagree. You know, some people come into this chat and say wild, irresponsible things. And then you come in and say something about red velvet cupcakes. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You know, I'll allow it. I appreciate it. Sumo J wants you to stream. I don't know if that means that Sumo J wants you to stream. So do I want Sumo to stream? Or what? You know what I mean? That's the real question. Oh yeah, I was following a facial area. Let's go back over here. That dude has some guts vibes. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see some guts. You know, I mean, aside from the hair, he's more of a spiky bit going on. I drew a lot, and it's still kind of holdover. I drew a lot of like Fist of the North Star guys, and that thick, you know, face, muscular, strong, square face, and it's stuck. It's stuck in the way that I draw dudes, right? Like, a lot of Fist of the North Star, a lot of Ma Wing-Shing art. Berserk outsells Strangers in Paradise. Outrageous! Oh my god. Oh no, here we go. This is Terry Moore when he finds out that Sonic the Hedgehog has outsold him.
This is an outrage.
Yes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that right there, that is Terry Moore. He is upset. Yeah, Fist of the North Star is great. Okay, Rushbrook. Have you seen Fist of the Blue Sky? Because it is excellent. I recommend you sitting down and watching the sequel, prequel-esque thing to watch Fist of the Blue Sky. It is excellent. It's very good. I recommend it. It's no Strangers in Paradise, but it's good. You know? Damn it, Rushbrook. Watch Fist of the Blue Sky. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you set sail to the seas of piracy. You know, just go. Make your way by land, sea, and air to get yourself some Fist of the Blue Sky. You know, that's all I'm saying. I think it's important. I think you would enjoy if you love Fist of the North Star and you like a lot of the kind of martial arts kind of anime and manga. You'll like Fist of the Blue Sky. Fists of Red Velvet. Yes. Fists of Stranger in Paradise. Revenge of Terry Moore. Yeah, right. Like, yeah. There's a lot. I do have the hardcover for the Frank Cho Shauna, the She Devil one. You know. But yeah, it's like there are just some people that it's like, I don't know, you know, their work. I have an appreciation for the technical ability, but like it's like one of those things, right? Like the art alone does not make an interesting comic book, right? So even if you can render women really well, or you can render guys or backgrounds or whatever, it still doesn't make for an interesting, exciting comic book, right? Like there's a way that you move people and stretch people and like have them act and express that makes the stuff interesting, right? Like even when you look at like Liefeld stuff, right? Like you look at Rob's stuff and it's like there's at least like an energy to it, even if it's like kind of wonky and you're like, oh, that guy's got really weird sausage legs, you know. There's still an energy to it, right? Like if you go look at anything Rob, most of his guys like calves are right big, and then they're like what is it, like the quad and all that stuff there around the knee, and it just looks like they're squeezed into a sausage, right? Like it looks like there's a sausage like here and a sausage here, and then there's a kneecap in between, right? And it's like that's the kneecap, and you're just like, bro, let those legs loose. And it just looks really awkward sometimes, right? Like we're just kind of like, all right, Rob. But like I said before, like I got that Bad Blood. I got Bad Blood from Shelby, and I sat down and read it, and I was like, this is good. Like I enjoyed this, right? Like, and the coloring was good. A lot of the pacing and everything like that was really good in it. Like I was like, oh, interesting, right? Because like, you know, it wasn't something like, I'm going to be completely honest, it wasn't something that I would have just went out and bought. Right? Like if it wasn't for Shelby sending it to me, I probably never would have read it. And so yeah, like that to me is like the thing. Like if I'm just like kind of like, oh, weird, you know, I'm gonna check this out, and I read it and enjoy it, and then I'm like, oh, this was actually decent. Yeah, I don't know, it was just a surprise, right? Like especially when you're kind of not expecting anything of a product. Yeah, I think we were talking about that before. Carl being such a huge fan of like Hughes and like Dodsons and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Yeah, right? Like I wouldn't be giving him my X-Men Gen 13 stuff either. No, sir. What is Carl doing these days? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Shelby, I used to follow Carl on Instagram. And then he kept posting weird political things. And I was like, all right, dude, I'm done. I'm tired of seeing your weird vote for Kamala things in my timeline. I'm just going to unfollow you. I'm just like, all right, dude. All right. And then so that meant that I had no idea what Carl does anymore. So I was like, all right, cool. There's some other people I think I'm going to unfollow too, because I just constantly spam posting shit. And like my entire wall, whether it's on Twitter or on Instagram, well, not on Instagram because you follow people on Instagram and it doesn't show you anybody you follow, but whatever. But on Twitter, it's like, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to see what the people I follow are doing. And then it's just this giant wall of, Jolly Green stuff. And I'm like, Jesus, dude, calm down. Stop posting every 2 seconds and then reposting it every 2 seconds and then posting that thing again every 2 seconds. It's like, holy fuck. You know? That's all. That's all. Oh, well, okay. Here's the thing. Black lives are black scams. So I mean, here's the thing. You can talk to people and you can kind of get a good idea about who they are, who they, where they lie politically. And even if it's not politically, just, I'm not even going to say morally, but just like in general, right? Like, if you're like a very like free speech guy, jokes are allowed, that kind of stuff, right? Like you kind of go, oh, okay, I get where so-and-so's at. So I'm watching this auction for artists for Kamala Harris. And I'm like, why is Mike Mignola drawing Hellboy with a Kamala Harris shirt on? Why would you ever do that? I just don't get it. Right? Like, and including it in an auction to raise money for her. Right? Like, I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, because like the thing is like the second you draw that character with that t-shirt on it, you alienate a whole bunch of people and you don't need to. Right? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, you want to sell your book to as many people as you can for as long as you can. You don't, like, I just don't understand the mentality from just a business perspective, right? Like, why would you ever want to slap a political t-shirt on your character? It just baffles me. Like talk about just a lack of self-awareness and arrogance and idiocy that like people are going to feel the same way about that stuff. Yes, exactly. Republicans buy shoes too, Michael Jordan. Like, I just don't get it, right? Like, and just like as a creator, like, and that's the thing too, right? Like, we used to, like, I remember growing up, my parents were always like, you don't talk about two things at work, religion or politics, right? And that was it. They were just like, it's always a problem. Don't do it, And I was like, okay, cool, and whatever, and so forever, nobody I knew in any job I ever had brought up their religion or their politics. And now it's all people talk about. And it's like, holy fucking shit. I don't care. I don't care about any of it. And my other problem with it is before we could agree to disagree, right? Like Shelby could come in here and be like, oh, I don't really agree with this or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, okay, well, but you understand why that's happening, or do you understand why I feel this way? And he would go, yeah, man, like, I get it. You know, it's not for me, but I get it. Right. And then we would go our separate ways, and then we could talk later. We could still be friends. Right. We could agree to disagree, move on, still talk about art, still talk about comics. Right. But yeah, exactly. You're always right. You know, and I go, yeah, you are, buddy. You know, have a good one. But we, for whatever reason, there's a ton of people who can't do that now. Right? Like, it's very bizarre. Like, and it's like the people are just like, unfollow me if you know, don't agree with my politics and whatever. And I'm like, if you talked about anything other than politics, then it might be cool. But there are just some people now that their whole timeline isn't about the art they make. It isn't about the fun they have. It isn't about like the things they enjoy. And so you can't even have a conversation now without that being a factor, right? And it's just so weird. And it's like, you know, it's like you used to just be like, oh yeah, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You know, oh yeah, that's crazy. And that's it. And you just never thought about it again. You're just like, all right, cool. But yeah, I'm just find it all very bizarre, right? And it just kind of goes to show like how, like, I don't know, it's like the propagandized everything kind of is now, right? Like where people just kind of can't, you know, exist. Yes. Oh yeah. Like, so many people have lost the ability to agree to disagree, right? And that's the thing. Like, I hear things that people say all the time, or they do all the time, and I kind of go, I wouldn't do that, but, you know, I'm not like cutting them out of my life, or I'm not like flipping out about it. Like, you know, I see stuff, that dumb stuff all the time, and go, I guess that's what they want to do. And I don't, you know, I don't shun them, or I don't like flip out on them. You know, it may or may not make me less inclined to, you know, spend time with you. Like, if I'm just like, geez, every time it's always this, you know, sure. But like, for the most part, I'm not really going out of my way to be like, hey, don't do that thing. That thing's annoying. Unless it's like, unless I think it's like good advice and you're hurting yourself and you don't know it, right? Then I might be inclined to be like, bro, you need to fucking stop that. Or you need to be careful. You know, which I've done before, and I'll probably do again. You know, and some people take the unsolicited advice and go, oh shit, I had no idea. And other people get weird and pissy, and I'm just like, all right, cool, whatever. I ain't mad. I'm just telling you. You know? Some people equals no. Listen, I have a certain amount of respect for where Noah's coming from because of his age, right? It's like when I was trying to talk to him about his page layout, and I redrew the page and showed him the page, and then he was like, don't show that to people. He's like, you put more detail in the gun you sketched out on the page than the one I did in the finish, right? And I'm like, okay, but you understand what I'm trying to say, right? And he's like, yeah, but I can't just take what you say, you know, I can't remember what he said, but I'll say as gospel, right? I'll put words in his mouth. I have to find it out for myself. I have to understand why you're telling me to do it. Right? Show you this sketch? Oh, you didn't see me lay out that whole page for him? Hold on. I don't. If I can find it quickly. But I laid out that page, the page that we were talking about, and he was like, he didn't want me to show it to people because he thought it was like, you know, too good or something. I don't know. Let's see if I can find it quickly. But yeah, and so anyway, it was the page with the bike jumping and the rear view mirror, and I was explaining like, hey, there's a lot of wasted space here, and it didn't flow well. Like I was like, let me redraw this whole page for you. Yeah, if I don't find it really quick, I'll just fucking not worry about it. But hold on, maybe it's in Clip Studio and not Photoshop. Did we actually show the page? Because he was quite against it. He was like, it'll make everyone think my page looks bad. And I was like, all right. Oh yeah, here it is. Where are we at here? All right. Let's see. Present. Share screen. Yep. Share screen. Window. Clip Studio. Okay. So let's see if I can get over here. Since it's on another desk completely to the side of me now. Hold on. Make sure I'm on this. All right. So this is his page, right? And he had the whole weird thing with the bike jumping over the hill, and that had to be right. And I was like, no, the bikes need to be seen chasing him first, right? And then has to cut down to the gun before he shoots it. You need to see that he has a gun before he starts shooting the gun, right? And then he shoots at the people in the rear view, right? Like this is the whole page, right? Like I'm like, right, because you know what I'm talking about, Shelby. It had the bike jumping, and then it had him looking in the rear view mirror, and then it had him shooting. And I was like, you can do it better and cleaner with less panels, right? And so I was like, and it does everything you want it to do. It leads your eye, right? Like, hold on. I'll pull this over here. Right? Like, give me a new layer. All right. And so go red. And and so I was like, it leads your eye. You start here. It leads your eye to the guys on the bikes. It leads in a Z to the gun. And then it leads to the shooting. Blam, blam. You're just whoop, whoop, whoop. That's your storytelling. That's your page and panel progression very cleanly. And this, like, I'll do another quick layer here. Like this here is essentially, one panel, right? Like, and you like I'm taking a liberty with scale here, but that this panel right here leads directly your eye to this, right? And you're still in the same place. It anyway, he was mad. He was mad that this gun he was mad that this gun looked better than the gun that he had like inked and finished in the book. He was like, you sketched it, and I was like, yeah, like these are trees that the vehicle's driving by, like going this way, right? Big arrow, trees, speed lines. Yeah. Anyway. And so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the bike jumping across taking up like more than a third of the page, and the rear view mirror being underneath it, and not it just wasn't legible. Like, right? Like the storytelling has to be clear, and like even if it's like I don't know, I would rather less inspired paneling and clearer storytelling than bad, panels with no background, anything. And I even said to him, I was like, look, like the panel at the top that shows the three guys with the bikes chasing him, it's clear. He's looking in the rear view mirror, he's looking out the back window, seeing the guys on the bikes. Like, you're showing the hero character, you're showing the peril, you're showing his option going down to the gun, and then the third panel is him making the decision to shoot. Right? Like, yeah, like your eyes have to travel through it. And so anyway, like I was just like, this is good. Listen, I will take Terry Moore to task. But yeah, like anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to help the kid. I'm trying to help him with storytelling. I'm trying to impart any wisdom that I have. I'm just like, dude, hey. But the thing is this, right? Like I get it. Like he wants to figure this stuff out, right? Like he wants to figure it out on his own terms, right? And I get that. I get it. I really do. He doesn't need to take everything that we say, as the 10 commandments, right? Like he'll figure it out for himself, right? He'll realize that we were right eventually. You know what I mean? And like that's my thing. Like I'm not telling him a better way to do it to make myself feel better. I don't give a shit about it in the long run, right? But I just think it's a better leap for him to have the option presented to him, right? Like if he sees the good storytelling, if he sees the clean progression, then he hopefully will adopt it. Yeah, I do. I that's the thing, like, right? Like sure. I'm grumpy, I'm curmudgeonly, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm an asshole, whatever. But I genuinely want to see people do well, do better, make the best things they can, right? That's it. That's just the thing. And so I like seeing him figure that stuff out. I like the process. I like him trying to figure it out for himself, right? And so yeah, he doesn't necessarily have to listen to everything we say, right? And as frustrating as that is, because we've done the hard part already, right? We've done the problem solving. we figured things out. We go, hey, this is really bad story. We've read books and went, oh my god, like why is this so hard to follow? Like none of these panels make sense, right? And so you're trying to learn from people's mistakes. Hopefully, your entire life, you're trying to figure out what to do, what's right, what's wrong, what works, right? And so that's the thing. I just, I'm just like, hey, this would be better this way. This is obvious to me that it would be cleaner and flow better, right? But yeah, like I said, you don't have to listen to anything I say. So get back in here and see. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to listen to anything I say, but I'm just saying, hey, dude, this would be better. That's it. And he doesn't have to do it in my style. He doesn't have to, crib exactly how I did it, but it's a good blueprint, literally. Like, on how to progress that story. Noah's 20. He's 20 years old. Maybe 21 soon. Yeah, but the thing is, right? Like, I can look at artists that I don't like and see technical aspects to it, and take something from it even, and be like, ooh, I kind of like how he does lighting here. I kind of like how he, does these gestures over and over again, specifically, right? And so there are things to be taken. There's knowledge to be gleaned from almost anybody who's put the time in, even if you don't like, if their style or whatever doesn't appeal to you, right? Yeah, exactly. Terry Moore, cough, cough. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, that's kind of part of the enjoyment of art and the artistic process and storytelling and creating and finding your own style, is that you're going to not like things. Your aesthetic is going to be built around a ton of things that you liked growing up, right? Like, and so for everybody, those pieces that make your individual aesthetic, like visually, art-wise, are going to differ so wildly, and your also like interpretation of that, right? Because like, say somebody like I don't know, like let's say like a Sam Keith, right? I'm sure he loves some anime, some manga. I'm sure there's things that he sees and has taken from them. But when you look at his work, you don't go, oh, he's a big fan of Otomo, or, he's a big fan of Masamune Shiro or whatever, right? Because his interpretation of what he takes from like an Otomo, the way they do buildings or rocks or any kind of thing like that, is also going to be based on the 10 other things he likes. Right? And so he draws that tree because of a McFarlane, or he draws, that mountain range because of Otomo or whatever, right? And then because he's a big fan of like Frazetta, he's taking that painting and shadow into those trees and that background in a completely different way than they were, right? So you're kind of this interesting sum of all your creative influences and what you choose to output based on the input you enjoy, right? And that whole part of the process is really interesting, right? And it's like, and it's a technical aspect, right? It's not an artsy fartsy aspect. It's, I see these things, I want to take them because I see the technical merit in them and how I can use them, right? I'm not throwing red tennis balls at a canvas and calling it art, right? Because someone else did, right? Like, but if I see how that tennis ball made a really cool shape that looks like a moon or something like that, that texture bounce, you might be more inclined to like be like, oh, I could dip this in black ink and dab it and then hit it with some white highlights and I'm going to get a really cool effect, right? Like, and so there's technical merit to be gleaned from things that might not have technicality in them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just it's one of those things, right? Like, I do feel like a lot of people aren't open to the outside influence, right? Just as a rule. What's this? Best off to stick to 2 or 3 max influences for your work. Every artist I know who influence hops based on a new thing can't finish anything. Yeah, but that's a problem with a lot of people in general, right? Like, I even not just in like, art in general. Like, there's just a ton of people who don't finish anything they start, right? Like, and I don't know if that's like an internet technology thing, like, because your phone's always beeping at you, there's always a billion other inputs and stuff like that. But like with the 3 influences thing, it's interesting to me because, like, if you look at somebody like a Jeff Scott Campbell or whatever, and he's looking at like Art Adams and he's looking at like Disney stuff, like, what I mean? Because when he shows his like influence kind of map, right? Like, it's like, what's the poster guy that passed away recently? Struzan. It's Drew Struzan, right? And so it's like he looks at like Struzan, he looks at like the Disney animators, like, and he sources all these books from Disney. And then he's like, oh, Art Adams, and then he's like Jim Lee and like stuff like that. And like, and then now it's like this really interesting output that he has as far as like characters, because he's not drawing comics anymore. But I don't know. There's like a lot of that stuff where, like, I don't know. And even if I see something today that isn't kind of in my regular wheelhouse of influence, right? Sometimes I will see something and go, ooh, I fucking love how they did the shadow on that guy's hand. Just weird little things. Sometimes you see something and go, oh my God, right? And like, and you'll just be like, I want to bring that shadowing technique in, or I want to bring that in. And it's like, it can be these weird, like, you level up in weird ways, right? And because just sometimes you see that one thing and it just kind of makes you think about the whole differently, right? And then other times it's like, it seems to take way longer for something to kind of click, right? Or it's like even look at like the boxer guy that Noah did, right? Like that's a big jump, like artistically, technically, than what he was doing in his books, right? And so he spent all that time rendering grass and doing all the stuff, and then he started doing other stuff in school and doing the murals and doing all this other stuff, right? So he's getting all this different influence, he's getting this different scope on things, a different perspective, literally having to draw on a much larger canvas and figure that out, right? And so you're going to eventually just kind of click. You're going to be like, oh, this works, this doesn't work, I'm doing it this way now, right? And it happens like in weird spots, right? Because like even now, sometimes I just see something, or I'm like working on something, and I just kind of like will like take a highlight or like a kind of like an angle of the light in a different way, instead of it just being directly like a rim light. You kind of pull it in, so it's gonna this bounce shadow and light, and you get a deleter line, like, and you do cool things with stuff like that, and you get this like different look, because most people will just light and color things very similarly and flatly, right? And then you'll do something a little bit different. You're like, ooh, I put just a tiny bit of a texture in there that was darker at the bottom, and it made the whole character look brighter at the top, right? And it's subtle, but if you take it off, you're like, ooh, that's a huge difference, right? And so sometimes it's interesting to just experiment that way, and then it just makes all your work look better from then on. And it's a little thing, right? Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I like this. I like this camera angle, right? Where you just got the cup just zoomed right down. God damn it, Zoom. It probably is. Hold on. Now it's pretty good. But yeah, right? Like that's kind of the thing where, yeah, it's very interesting to me. Like, just like the creative process is interesting, and like, you'll have 10 different people tell you 10 different ways to do something, right? And then, like, you'll still have the people who are like, no, it's always been done this way, and you're like, all right, okay. And it's not always unwise, but the reality is that, yeah, sometimes people think about something different, and you go, oh, that is a good idea. I like that. I don't know, it's weird, like, because sometimes, like, I have just seen something, flipping through a book, and I go, oh, that's super awesome. Just this one shot. And it makes you think about all your work differently, because then every time you go in, you're like, oh shit, like I'm going to try that on this. I'm going to do that here. And then so from then on, that's like part of what you're trying to take into the experience every time that you try to, render a face or whatever, right? Like, and 6 months ago, it wasn't a thing you even thought of, Listen, Terry Moore isn't dry. He's in the shower sobbing, right? Like, let's not pretend that Terry Moore is doing anything other than crying right now. That's all I'm saying. Right? And why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't Terry Moore be crying in his soup? Right? Like, he's got a gazpacho. Because of course he's fucking into a gazpacho. You know what I mean? This motherfucker, gazpacho. And he'll tell you about it too. That's the problem with Terry fucking Moore. He's in there giving you shit about his gazpacho, all the while not selling as much as Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm like, fuck that guy. That's all. Right? And see, like, here's the thing. Like, I'm joking about Terry Moore, but I'm sure there would be people that would hear this and be like, you're not giving him the respect he deserves. And I'm like, bro, calm the fuck down. Chill out. Like, I don't owe anybody anything. They don't owe me anything. Chill out. And with that said, common courtesy is completely different than respect, right? Like, I'm not, I'd hold the door open for Terry Moore if we ran across each other. I'd extend him the common courtesy of being polite to him. I don't have any ill will. My only issue with Terry Moore is he thought he should be selling more than Sonic the Hedgehog. That's it. I'm sure he's a perfectly nice gentleman outside of that one tremendous mistake on his part. That's it. No. I don't give most people the respect they deserve, if I'm being honest. You know what I mean? And it's not because I don't like them. I just don't care. Right? Like, that's it. Right? Like, there's that like idea that because somebody did something one time 20 years ago, that I'm beholden to them for the rest of my life for some reason, even when I don't know them. Right? Like, and I'm just like, no, it's cool. I don't have anything against them, but I don't need to shine their shoes or anything like that, or glaze them every time their name comes up. That's all I'm saying. That's all. I ain't out here glazing fools. Like, what's Terry Moore done for me lately? Is the question that I'm gonna ask you. Man, I need more to drink. My throat's dry. Been talking a lot. You guys know how it is. All right, let's get in here. Get this face. Terry gave me these sweet views. What sweet views? Like the views of people? Or did someone like tweet out at Terry Moore, hey Terry, this guy, he hates you, he hates the bands you like? Is that what happened? I'm gonna throw this over here before I accidentally rub some wet ink into this, and I'd be very annoyed. So that's just me. Terry Moore has changed my life, and he hasn't even said anything. Listen, that's fair. Sometimes in every man's life, a little Terry Moore must fall. It's okay. I'll allow it. Okay, we're gonna do this here, see how it goes. I'm gonna pick this. What's going on? I'm smoking a cigar on the porch on a clear Hawaiian evening, thinking about how much I despise Terry Moore. That's funny to me. That is hilarious. I'm glad I could help you, Sumo. You know? What's going on? Nice. Rad is smoking a cigarette in his work truck in the rain, thinking about how much he despises Terry. Man, I need a series of photos with captions that say that. That's what I need. I need a series of photos from around the world and people just despising Terry Moore. I'm glad we could come together on that. You know what I mean? See, it's my life now. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you're Terry Moore. Sometimes you're Sonic the Hedgehog. Think about it. What would you rather be? Want that chili dog? You got to go fast? That's what you got to ask yourself. Which one are you? That's all. Well, I guess I'll do this for fudge. Even though I could just fill it in, which I'm gonna. Where are we at, Mr. MB? Damn. Damn, Shelby. I'm tearing families apart. Just how it is. But what can you do? Just how it goes sometimes. I want to pull some of these through. couple little spots that I hate up here. All right. Okay. I think I'm just going to do these two tonight. I'll save, I'll save some of these others for another night. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I could be crazy. You know what I mean? Are you going to stream now, Shelby? If I end this, are you going to stream? Oh, thanks, Rushbook. I appreciate it. Terry's birthday is November 19th. I might have to cancel your birthday. I mean, you just have a bigger party than him. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. You just have the bigger party. Damn. Damn, Rushbrook. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I think I'm just going to do these two. Call it an evening. Call it some sketches. And I spent more time ranting about Terry Moore and art than I did drawing, you know. But that's how we get to these 2-hour streams, right? Like this would have been like no time, 0 time. Yeah, damn, Terry Rushbrook, fucking get wrecked. Unreal. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna call it an evening and let you all run out into the virtual streets. Oh man, Rushbrook's getting deleted from all socials. Fuck, man, I hate that for you. That's the worst. Man, unreal.
Maybe I am not that bad. I ain't got the Japanese. Maybe order some Chinese. To die.
All right, let's get straight to the biscuits. At 0800 hours this morning, an American soldier was eaten by a Nazi dinosaur.
That's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No, Claire, that's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Try thinking first before you open your mouth.
It's so pathetic, bro. It is so fucking pathetic. I see this constantly. Like, if you can't handle direct, harsh criticism, quit. Just quit. Quit and go do something else. That's with streaming, YouTube, anything where you directly interface and you sell a product to the public. If you can't handle direct and brutal criticism, quit. Yeah, that's it. Like, and it will never get better.
I I don't know you and me are like Coke and icy. Coke and icy. Together two and two it will become yummy. Oh so yummy. You want me, make you happy. I need you right now, honey. Love is okay, but not in a homo way. No homo. I know this sometimes we do talk like a baby. Talk like baby. Finally, I know this you love me like you love mommy. Love your mother. Coca cannot live. I see. Love you like sugar daddy. Motherfucker. Love is okay, but not in a homo way. I don't know you and me are like Coke and icy. Coke and icy. Together two and two it will become yummy. Oh so yummy. You want me, make you happy. I need you right now, honey. Love is okay, but not in a homo way. No homo. I know this sometimes we do talk like a baby. Talk like baby. Finally, I know this you love me like you love mommy. Love your mother. Coca cannot live. I see. Love you like sugar daddy.